Welcome to class Summit. So for this just stylish kimono jacket, I have chiffon fabric and then the Ankara fabric. The chiffon is going to be at the front while the Ankara will be at the back. So for the Ankara at the back, I folded into two, and first off I'm going to be marking out my neckline. You can see that the side I folded is not open, so it's not supposed to have any joining at the back. So for a basic neckline I'm marking 3 inches. Okay, and then from there I'm going to mark my shoulder line. This is just a guide, and from that shoulder line I'm going to mark the length of my sleeve. So I'm using the length of 10 inches. It's a short. If you want it longer, then you know what to do. Now at that part I'm going to come down by 1 inch, right? So I will get my rule. I connect from the neck point, that is the 3 inches that I marked, and connect it to the 1 inch that I dropped down at the sleeve line. Okay, so I'll connect it this way to the neck point. That is where I connected it. Okay, so for my neck depth I'm going to mark 1 inch. This is the back. It shouldn't be too deep, even though we're going to be adding a strap to it. And then I'll connect it to the 3 inches for the neck width. I hope this is taken. Now from the 1 inch drop down, I'm going to mark my sleeve circumference, and I'm using 10 inches, including the seam allowance and everything. If you want it longer, then you know what to do, increase it. Okay, so that is my round arm or round sleeve measurement. So from the top of my fabric, I'm coming down to mark my bust circumference. After the bust circumference, I'll mark the waist line. Not the bust circumference, the bust length. Okay, shoulder to bust length and shoulder to waist. Now on the bust line, I'm going to mark my bust divide by 4. Bust divide by 4, and I'll add 4 inches because this is a big, it's not a fitted dress. I'll mark 4 inches. Okay, now you can see that my bust line and the depth of the sleeve is at the same line. It doesn't still matter. Okay, so whatever I have on the bust I'm going to mark on the waistline. The jacket is just straight, it doesn't have any shaping. Okay, so I'll connect from the waistline to my sleeve, but I'm going to do it in such a way that it will not look as if it's a cow stuff, like a cow design, cow neck design or cow boo, whatever. So I'm connecting the sleeve circumference, and then this is how I'm going to connect to my waistline. Okay, now you can see that it's a bit close to my bust measurement, so it's not going to be too um like a cow. You can see the way it is, it's straight on that part, but you cannot keep it straight, like pointed the way four corner like that. You're supposed to slant it very well so that you can at least be able to make use of your hand, let it be free, and it curves well. I hope all this grammar is understood. Anyway, I guess you understand it. So from my shoulder line, I'm going to measure to the length of my jacket, to where I want the jacket to stop. That is where I'm going to measure. I think I used about 35 inches because I also added a string at the lower part just to give it some style. So whatever it is I have at the bust line, that is also what I'm going to measure, including the 4 inches. So everything is just straight, straight, straight. Okay, it's not fitted, it's just straight. And I'm going to, like, yeah, you can add your seam allowance below for folding allowance. Okay, so we're just going to cut this way, that way, and we cut it out with the scissors. I hope this is making sense to you, especially the beginner. Now after cutting, I'll fold my chiffon into two, This chiffon is just 1 yard anyway, but the way it's cut is not straightforward. So I'll place the back on the front and cut it exactly the same, but the difference is in the neck part, the CF line. That is where the difference is. Okay, so what I will do is to cut together with the back neckline, like give it the same shape of the back, just to have a guideline of the neck width, not the depth of the neckline. So I will use the back neckline to measure the front, then I will remove the back, and then I'm going to connect the front neckline the way I want it to be connected. It's going to be a bit deeper. So I'm using the pins. This is a chiffon fabric. It can dance around. Okay, so you just use your pins to hold it down. So from the shoulder, I'm going to come down by 7 inches for the depth of the neckline. I used 7 inches. So I'm going to connect it this way. I'm going to connect it this way. The 7 inches. Remember, from the width of the neckline, the back and the front are supposed to be the same, the same. Okay, so I'll then get my scissors and cut it out. Making a kimono is very simple, very simple. So once I cut it out, I'm going to tear the front open. I will not just tear it, I will cut like half inch, not even up to half an inch, but then I'm still going to add extra something at the front. Okay, so it's not going to be short. So I cut away half an inch. Now what I'll do is to join the shoulders together, shoulder for front and back together, and the sides also I'll join it together. So this is it. The shoulder for the back and front joined together, after which I also joined the sides together. Now to put this in front, the whole of this fabric is 5 inches. I folded half inch on both sides and then folded it into two again and ironed it. And then I'll open it this way and insert the front part of the fabric into it half an inch, and then I'll top stitch on it. Make sure as your top stitching at the front is also reflecting under. Now I wanted to use all of this bias to design it, but as I was running out of time I couldn't use all of them, so I did only two. You can choose to do as many as possible. So to do it, I ironed stay on the front part of the fabric where I want the bias to be. This is to help stabilize the fabric on the front side, not on the wrong side. Okay, so at the back of it now, I'm going to mark out where I want it, the circle that I want and where I want it to be. Okay, so you can use anything. It can be smaller, it can be bigger, it depends on how you want it. And this is the shape that I have. As we continue, you're going to see why it's to be, the hairstay is to be placed on the front. This is to enable you be able to turn it neatly, right? You're going to turn it neatly. You'll not have pieces of stay remaining somewhere after you finish top stitching. So I'm going to sew this bias this way. One part, I believe you know how to sew a bias. Sew it round while keeping allowance that we'll use to join the bias together, and then continue the sewing round. I hope this is taken. Okay, so I'm going to just do that now. You can see the way it is. I've sewn on top of it, so I'm trying to remove excess of the stay that did not enter into the sewing. I'm going to remove the excess of the stay. Now this is possible because we ironed it on the front part. If it's on the back side, after sewing and returning it to the front, it will be difficult for you to remove anything that is seen around there, so it will not be totally neat. When you try it, you understand what I'm actually talking about. So I'm going to grab the scissors and tear this inside open and cut away the round circle. We're going to cut it away. Okay, now before you do this, make sure you understand and know what to do, because after tearing your fabric like this and you're not able to do it well, you know you've entered one chance to wherever it is that you're going. Just one chance. Okay, so once this is done, I'm now going to fold my bias over to the front side. I'm just making sure that I trim out some ugly things that are not supposed to be seen. Okay, just bear with me. I hope you understand what we're doing. So I'm going to fold the bias over this way. You can choose to iron it as soon as you finish folding it over. Now the last thing we're going to do is to top stitch on it. Top stitch on it. You can see how I'm folding it, right? Now look at the excess that is out. You're going to cut it out and then use the estate to cover whatever it is that is remaining. That's why I was trimming it that time. So we're going to top stitch on it, and that will be the end of this. You can see I've done one part. You can see how it's looking, very beautiful, very cutie. So you are going to do your run this way depending on how many places you want it, the size. You know, if you want it plenty, you don't have to do it make it so wide. All right, thank you for watching. This is the outcome of what we've just made. Thank you, and come back later.